Donna Carr and Shandy Faulkner. Donna Carr is present. Cynthia, the manager from Mystic Grove, is present. And attorney Samantha Sprague is here from the Gann Law Firm on behalf of Mystic Grove. We seem to have a lot of tough cases out of this complex, but they're asking you to move out, and they're asking Ms. Faulkner to move out. They filed what's called a termination of tenancy, and as of October 5th, they served a notice on you. They want you to move. In such a case, you have a right to hire an attorney. If you cannot pay for an attorney, the court must give you information about legal aid, and apparently you've been in contact with legal aid and they may be en route. You have a right to have the case heard here in St. Joseph County where the property is located. That's never been an issue, but the law requires that I tell you that. You have a right to demand a jury trial. If you wish to have a jury trial, you must tell me at this first court appearance or make the demand in writing within 5 days and pay the $50 jury demand fee. If you cannot afford to pay the $50 fee, you can ask the judge to waive it. Excuse me, I'm trying not to sneeze. And if you have an inability to pay it, the court can waive the fee. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord by going through community dispute resolution or mediation. If both parties are interested, the court can help set that up. Or if you can reach an agreement with the landlord, that means the case will get dismissed. Someone could file a conditional order of dismissal. Ms. Sprague and Cynthia,
The court addressed a termination of tenancy filed by Mystic Grove Apartments against Donna Carr and Shandy Faulkner. The plaintiff alleged serious lease violations, including the presence of unauthorized occupants. The court confirmed that Ms. Faulkner was personally served but failed to appear. As a result, the judge entered a default judgment against her, ordering eviction within 10 days. Determined whether the lawful tenant's lease could be preserved.
Daughter, Shandy Faulkner, who is on the notice, and her boyfriend, I believe his name is Patrick Wiltsey. So now that, and Ms. Bauer, are you going to appear in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. Meg Bauer, P84816, appearing on behalf of defendant Donna Carr only.
All right.
And my apologies to the court.
You don't need to apologize. We knew you were on the way, and you've got another case coming up in about an hour, and you asked Ms. Carr to be here, I think, so you could meet with her personally. Ms. Sprague, my inclination at this point is to grant a default judgment against Shandy Faulkner, who was personally served and is not here, and reset the hearing on this defendant, Ms. Gann, for January 23rd. Does that make sense to you?
It does, Your Honor. My concern, we will of course take the default as to Ms. Faulkner. Given the defendant's indication that she has not authorized the unauthorized occupants to live there, would a notice of trespass be appropriate after the 10 days for Ms. Faulkner? Or because my concern with the default on one party, not multiples, is that it's not enforceable.
The judge carefully explained tenant rights, including legal representation and jury trial options. When it was confirmed that one defendant failed to appear despite personal service, the court issued a default eviction order. The judge emphasized that failure to appear carries serious legal consequences.
Ms. Carr, excuse me.
Although I was actually on the phone with Attorney Gann for about 20 minutes this morning, we would actually, had the plaintiff not asked for it or it been brought up, we were going to ask the court for entry of a default against the other defendant, as there was personal service on her. As you have indicated, I have worked on cases in this county where we have done a bifurcated eviction with one tenant remaining and one tenant being evicted. So I do believe that after the 10th day, a no trespass request or direction from the plaintiff would be sufficient to then grant the police authority to apprehend or otherwise take legal action against Ms. Faulkner were she to be on the premises after the 10th day. I don't know anything much about Mr. Travis, but it would seem he hasn't established residency here. He's not named.
Yeah, it's not and other parties. If I do all other parties, it's going to evict.
She kept bringing him over, and I told her.
Well, he can do it. Here. All right. Well, he's apparently the source of many of these problems.
Yes, he is.
All right. I had a case once where a young man, he had some difficulties. He got a girlfriend.
This eviction case centers on unauthorized occupants placing a lawful tenant's housing at risk. After determining that the unauthorized tenant did not appear in court, the judge granted a default eviction, providing 10 days to vacate. The legal tenant was temporarily protected while the court explored options to preserve her tenancy.
But at this point, Ms. Sprague, I'm going to do a default as to Shandy Faulkner, subject to eviction 10 days from today.
Your Honor.
Yes?
Would it be possible to also do the default? I understand your perspective that and other occupants has a possibility of including Ms. Carr, but could we do it as a Shandy Faulkner and all other occupants not including Ms. Carr in order to ensure that it includes the I'm sorry, I don't have his name.
Yes.
His name, the boyfriend.
And all other occupants not including Ms. Carr. So 10 days from today would be January 19th. I will be back on January 23rd. I'll be back on the 21st, excuse me. Meg, before you got here, I checked with Ms. Sprague to see if Friday, January 23rd at 10:45 would work for her calendar.
I believe I already have a couple of cases in front of you that day.
I think you do. So let's just continue as to Carr only. All right, Ms. Sprague, I would ask you if you would send me that judgment by email sooner rather than later. I'm going to be leaving this afternoon as soon as I finish a case, and I'll be gone for a bit. So if you would email that to me, we'll try to evict the non.
The court reviewed a subsidized housing eviction involving multiple defendants. Testimony established that an individual not listed on the lease was residing in the unit. Due to non-appearance by the unauthorized occupant, the judge entered a default eviction while continuing proceedings for the primary leaseholder.
Let me confirm that with my file.
Well, I'm not going to grant it at this point.
Okay.
Because I don't know what the status is. We may not. Yes?
Okay.
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I believe Ms. Carr has attempted to pay her rent, but because this is a termination of tenancy, the plaintiff has refused to accept it. We would be willing to waive the Park Forest defense if the plaintiff would accept her rent so that she can continue to stay current.
Okay.
Are you willing to accept rent from Ms. Carr?
Yes, Your Honor, with that waiver of the Park Forest defense. But my apologies. If Ms. Bauer is not currently representing, can she do that waiver, or does the defendant need to state that on the record?
She placed her appearance on the record.
Okay.
But let's ask Ms. Carr, are you willing to continue to pay your rent, even though in a termination of tenancy case you could not be compelled to do that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Rent is how much? $299? Is that what you told me? Yeah.
It's $299. Currently, we do show a balance on the account of.
Judge, there's a housing choice voucher involved in this case. So Park Forest actually had already been triggered anyways, despite their declining to accept the tenant portion of payment. But again, we've got other interests. We're not interested in raising that case. But my understanding is that the rent is not, or that we might have some questions about their current.
In this housing court proceeding, the judge issued a default eviction after an unauthorized occupant failed to appear despite proper service. The ruling granted 10 days to vacate and authorized enforcement if compliance was not met. The court continued the matter for the lawful tenant, allowing rent payments to resume.
Your Honor, it's a 91-page document. I just have to get to the right page. It was previously at $241 as of December, so January 1st, it did increase to $299.
All right, well, whatever she pays, plaintiff agrees to accept and not forfeit the right to terminate the tenancy. And we will try to get the other people out. Maybe we can salvage Ms. Carr's tenancy. All right, we'll continue this till Friday, January 23rd at 10:45. As far as Ms. Falter is concerned and her co-tenant, Mr. Wiltsey, if they're not out by the 19th, they're subject to being evicted. The order may not get signed till I return on the 22nd. But the sheriff can come put them out with that writ of eviction. So we'll see how we do. But you tell her she didn't show up. She was personally served and the judge entered a default and gave her 10 days to move out. Him
Your
too.
Honor, can I
Yes.
speak? I spoke to her this morning and I kind of felt like she really didn't care.
Well, if she doesn't care, then she should move. But right now her rent is zero. So that's probably a fact. So is his. At any rate, they've got 10 days to get out or they're subject to being evicted. And let's see how we're doing on January 23rd at 10:45. All right, thank you all. All right, we're going to take a recess. Miss Bauer and I have got another case to do at 11. She'll have time to consult with this client and get ready for the next one. We'll stop the record, stop the live feed, and see if anybody brought in any cookies or anything else. Cynthia, I'm going to release you and you're good to go. All right, we'll stop the live feed. We'll work on